first report is an injury update. This report comes from the Palm Beach Post. Some key players are not on the field. Running back Jay Ajayi remains out with a concussion, missing his second straight practice, and the team is holding Mike Pouncey out as part of his maintenance program. Pouncey has practiced twice since camp opened a week ago and has yet to do a full 11-on-11 workout. Ryan Tannehill also injured his left knee, which is the same knee he injured against the Arizona Cardinals. That set him, obviously, he was out for the rest of the season. I'm not going to speculate what it is yet. Obviously, all Dolphins fans are holding their breath and hoping that he comes back healthy. But the Dolphins are currently waiting to get back his MRI. And as soon as that comes back, I'm going to do a whole video on it, whether it's good or bad. And if it's bad, we'll go through what the Dolphins should do after that, in my opinion, on the whole situation. But I don't want to speculate on it now because we don't have anything. We don't have any concrete evidence. As far as we know, he could be completely fine. So when we get the concrete evidence, I will definitely make a video about it. This next report is on Devante Parker and what Shawn Jefferson, the wide receiver coach, had to say about him on day 7 of Miami Dolphins training camp. This report comes from Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. Shawn Jefferson said, quote, "He'll be a monster." He said, "You guys have seen it this spring. His maturation has been outstanding, and he's still progressing even through this training camp." He also said, "Well, I just think because when you see a guy like him with his talent, his movements, his lateral movement in his hips, and all of those skills like that, for a tall guy like that, Devante has really loose hips. He runs well without the ball, so he has all of those things you look for in a top-flight receiver. He has that ability to affect the game." Obviously, the hype continues for Devante Parker. That started in OTAs, and it's, I think, the best thing we can point to of Devante Parker being consistent, that the hype train started in OTAs, and it continues throughout training camp, which is great news for Fins fans. We should see a more consistent Devante Parker in the 2017 season, not just flashes of him like in the Rams game, the Patriots game, the Bills game. We're going to see that for a full 16-game season. If Devante Parker can play at that level, that elite level that we know he can play at for a full 16-game season, Devante Parker is one of the best outside receivers in the game and one of the best wide receivers in the game. This next report, running back coach Danny Barrett believes Kenyan Drake could be an every down back if Jay Ajayi misses multiple games. This report comes from Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. He said, quote, "He's more reliable, more dependable, being where he's supposed to be, especially in our passing game. So the quarterbacks have a lot of confidence knowing that he's going to be where he's supposed to be. A lot of it is just paying attention to details. You make the rookie mistakes, you take things for granted, you don't finish a play here or there, or just not being where you're supposed to be. I think he's overcome those things this offseason. He's done a great job of taking care of the little things, the detailed things we talked about. Our room is all about discipline and detail, and he's done a good job of that this year." So this is great news that he's had that improvement where the Dolphins coaching staff trusts him to be a 3-down player, because last year the trust was not there. Adam Gase has talked about it many times in press conferences that he has not trusted Kenyan Drake to pick up a blitz or do the little things like follow the scheme, follow the running game, really know the playbook, and all those things that our running back coach was talking about in that report. And it's great to hear that the Dolphins have that trust in him now to be that 3-down player. And I can't wait to see what he does in the receiving game, because Kenyan Drake is a special talent that should take off even more this upcoming season. This next report is what the offensive line coach of the Miami Dolphins had to say about Isaac Asiata. This report comes from Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. He's right in the mix with the backup guys to compete. It's a full competition with he and Anthony Steen and Jake Brendel and Jesse Davis and Craig Urbick. All of them are working their butts off trying to compete. He's right in the mix with those guys. These preseason games will tell a lot. So obviously we're wondering who's going to start at the guard position. Right now it looks like Ted Larson has that on lock, but obviously the other guard position has some high competition as well, and obviously Adam Gase at this point is infamous for starting somebody. If they're better than you, they're going to start. So if Isaac Asiata shows a lot on preseason, which hopefully he will, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he started on the offensive line. But right now, it looks like he's far from it, because Jake Brendel, Anthony Steen, they've all played better than him so far in training camp. So Isaac Asiata has a lot of work to do this upcoming preseason. This next report, Shawn Jefferson agrees that Devante Parker, Jarvis Landry, and Kenny Stills will be among one of the best trios in the league. He said, quote, "I would agree with that. We have 3 talented receivers, and the good thing is about them, they work, and they're very very smart. So I think he brings up a good point. Especially last year, they had a lot of the chemistry between the receivers was amazing. And in terms of reading coverages and Ryan Tannehill's chemistry with the receivers obviously improved once they got more comfortable with the offense. And it was a sight to behold. And I think that's even just going to be even better this upcoming season. Hopefully Tannehill is healthy, and that doesn't ruin it. But we'll see. But if he comes back healthy, I think the chemistry that we saw last year is even going to be better this upcoming season. It's going to be really, really, really fun to watch this offense in 2017. All right, we're going to do a quick rundown of all the biggest headlines from Day 7 of Miami Dolphins training camp. Cameron Wake and Ndamukong were back to work after getting a Veterans Day off Wednesday. The team continues to work out newly signed receiver Jordan Westerkamp as a punt returner. Matt Moore took over for Ryan Tannehill after he went down with his knee injury and 11-on-11 drills. He threw 2 touchdowns. One was a 55-yard touchdown to Kenny Stills. The other one was I think it was it was a really tight window to Jarvis Landry. In the red zone. Chase Allen also had an interception in the red zone, and Devon Gottschalk actually started with the first team defensive line today, which is great news. I don't know why. I don't know if Jordan Phillips was injured or sick or what the heck was going on with him. The coaches didn't say that he just got the start over him or whatever. I don't know what the whole situation is there, so I'm not going to speculate. But Devon did get first team reps, which is amazing news. Obviously, there were a whole lot of rumors that the Dolphins were not pleased with their rookie defensive tackles, saying they weren't ready to play in the NFL. This is a great sign that he started with the ones. And I think, the Dolphins' defensive ends continue to be dominant. Andre Branch had a sack on 11-on-11 drills, and so did Cameron Wake. So they continue to be. This is probably the best Dolphins defensive line we've had in some time. They look really, really, really good, and the chemistry that they have right now in training camp is off the charts. And last but not least, Ryan Tannehill's injury. If you don't know, he scrambled out and tweaked his knee. We don't know the severity of the injury yet, and once we do know the severity of the injury, I promise you guys I will do an in-depth video on that. But until then, we're just going to have to wait and see. And I know all Dolphins fans are holding their breath and hoping for the best. So that has been your Miami Dolphins training camp for today. It's been a short day. It was a short practice. And I am Skags1383, and I will see you guys in the next one. Let's get through the rigmarole first before we start the podcast. Remember, guys, this podcast posts each and every single Wednesday. The first segment of the show, we go through all the Dolphins news you need to know about. The second segment of the show, we go through all the AFC East news you need to know about. And the third and final segment of the show, we go through the Miami Dolphins fan Q&A.